Hi, this is Maria Horat with Gold Country Properties here in Northern California. And today I wanted to discuss the California housing crisis again and how the causes for this crisis might not be coming from where you think they're coming from. So I just wanted to briefly just talk about this topic. And we know that the major driver of the housing crisis has been the Federal Reserve Bank uh, decades of quantitative easing policy, which has led to excessive money printing, as we know, and has created an unprecedented housing bubble because when they print out these excessive amounts of money, interest rates have been, come down to very artificial low numbers, which we have seen there have been basically zero, and which led to an excessive demand for housing, driving up the prices. So it's just the basic law, supply and demand. However, the California Association of Realtors has a different take on the reasons the state is leading in lack of affordable housing. As we know, this view might possibly be coming from our state and federal government. So for that, I'm going to share the screen here with this page from the California Association of Realtors entitled Californians for Homeownership. And they said that for decades, California has experienced a housing access and affordability crisis, and definitely we can agree with that. In recent years, this crisis has reached historic proportions as a result of the housing affordability crisis. Younger Californians are being denied the opportunities for housing security and homeownership that were afforded to previous generations. Families across economic strata are being forced to rent rather than experience the wealth-built benefits of homeownership. Yes, we can agree to that. Many middle and lower income families devote more than half of their take-home pay to rent, leaving little money to pay for transportation, food, healthcare, and other necessities. Housing insecurity in California has also led to a mounting homeless crisis. Yes, we know that not just affordability issue, just as far as the pricing that the home prices that have skyrocketed here in California. But also we have a homeowners insurance issue that people are having a hard time obtaining affordable homeowners insurance. That, of course, we can add to all the other issues now going on with the economy and how expensive everything has gotten. So how we can help? So they're saying that California's housing crisis is statewide. This is the paragraph that I have an issue with. California's housing crisis is statewide, but housing policy is set locally and is driven in large measure by local policies that favor the interests of local voters over regional and statewide housing needs. In other words, they are blaming the local voters, the community, local communities for the housing problem, okay? Not in my backyard and other exclusionary housing policies are a major driver of the housing crisis. These policies are used across California to delay, reject, and downsize housing development projects, especially projects that might increase access to affordable housing. We're having the problem with the development projects that we're having have to do with the fact that the regulations have gotten so strict that they have put on so many environmental regulations now that is very, very difficult for the average builder just to build a single family home in California. We know that to be a fact. They continue on saying however, they are saying that people are opposing housing projects. Well, the low-income family projects that they perhaps want to put in a neighborhood, in a residential neighborhood, some people might have a problem with that for various reasons. But the real problem, it has been the lack of housing produced by not enough supply of housing. And why there's not enough supply of housing? Because there's too many regulations and because the prices of the homes are extremely expensive. And what has driven up the prices has been the high demand caused by low interest rates set by the Federal Reserve Bank. So that's the real reason why. As the housing crisis has worsened, they said, California has enacted increasingly stringent state laws designed to limit exclusionary housing policies and encourage housing development. These laws require California cities and counties to plan for the creation of enough housing to meet regional housing needs. Okay, so local communities might have a problem with these state laws coming down the pipe. And local county supervisors or city councils are basically approving a lot of these laws coming down, a lot of these bills, and they want to approve it. They vote yes, not because their local voters are telling them to vote yes, but because they are forced to approve these projects. Otherwise, there's consequences if they don't approve these bills in their own local communities. They are requiring localities to permit certain forms of housing development, such as the construction of accessory dwelling units. And they penalize cities and counties that fail to produce adequate housing. And learn more about California's legislative efforts to create more housing. The problem has been the government. They want to create the problem by putting more legislation to change the free market economy and to manipulate the free market economy. And this is why then we have all these problems that come down. These laws are meaningless without strong enforcement. They're saying we need to have strong enforcement, and violations are widespread. California's Department of Housing and Community Development and the other state agencies charged with enforcing housing laws lack the resources and the authority to address every violation. Yeah, of course, that is not their authority, unfortunately. Fortunately, that's not their authority to enforce these so-called violations. That's where we come in, the California Association of Realtors. We monitor compliance with laws and prohibit exclusionary land use practices. And when necessary, we sue to enforce them. Learn more about our work. So they have put together a nonprofit called Californians for Homeownership. And of course, we are all for homeownership, and we're for property rights. And we are all for the respect of our own rights. And the voters have a right to voice take a vote. And that's why we elect local representatives to represent us, not to represent the state desires. California is in the midst of a housing crisis of historic proportions. We can agree with all of that. At the core of California's affordable housing crisis is a failure to provide enough housing to meet demand. Well, that is the job of the free market economy. When in the absence of all these artificial manipulations and policies, we will have more housing available. We will have the supply will meet the demand. But when you put into place all of these little tactics that we have had for decades, since the beginning of the Federal Reserve Bank, then we have a problem. We have all these cycles, really high ups and downs, all these housing bubbles and the inflation and all these out of control things happening in our economy. So here's, they talk about their work. And of course, we can look in here, litigation is their work. When cities and counties refuse to comply with laws intended to increase access to housing, we sue them. We also participate in lawsuits filed by others on behalf of the public interest in access to affordable housing. So I believe this is a very, very sad situation that we're going through, that counties and cities are being sued for non-compliance of these so-called new laws. I feel these are tyrannical. I feel that the people should be able to have a voice on how they want their own communities housing to be arranged, and it should not be up to the local government. It should not be up to the state. It should not even be up to the federal government. It should be up to the free market economy. It should be up to everyone, the supply and demand laws, to not be manipulated in the way they have. So that's a big takeaway that we have learned. Basically, so two things: local voters, what we're taking from this article, from this page, should have a lesser say when it's not for the common good of a region or the state, okay? And instead of addressing the real culprit, which is an out-of-control Federal Reserve Bank creating manipulative monetary policies detrimental to our economy, they want to create the illusion that the housing problem stems from you through whatever county that you're at or city. In order to address the housing affordability problem, or should I say combat local voters, California has passed a bill in 21 called that has been to limit exclusionary zoning and increase density. These bills are SB 9 and SB 10. And it makes it legal for property owners to subdivide lots into two parcels and turn family homes into duplexes. Authorities and local governments to rezone for up to 10 homes per parcel. So they're saying that the more that they allow these, that the more housing supply that would be. And I'm not necessarily against people having the ability of putting an accessory dwelling unit on their lot. I think that's a great idea. A lot of people have to have their relatives, elderly parents or children who they want to have on their property. And I think it's great for that to be, people to be able to have that opportunity to be able to build accessory dwelling units. However, I don't believe that the counties or the state should be penalizing to whomever doesn't want to do that, or whoever, or if the city, if somebody in particular doesn't want to do that, there shouldn't be something penalized. Or if I believe the cities and the counties should be able to have some kind of a zoning, general zoning that everybody is good with, but I don't think they should be penalized if they don't implement a particular type of zoning that the state wants, okay? So another thing I wanted to cover that we're starting to see something that I think is really, really pathetic. There is a county in Northern California called Tuolumne County, and I'm just going to give that example. I'm sure that's happening in other counties. And they have a plan to combat homelessness on their website. And basically, they want to implement, they have certain short-term and long-term goals to combat homelessness. Their goals include shared housing policies. And I think this is really scary, where basically homeowners who have both the space and the heart, and I'm quoting from one of the county supervisors, that they have an empty room in their house, they can rent it to a homeless person. They're also exploring the possibility of accessory dwelling units in exchange. I think this is a bribery, in exchange for homeowners renting them for the first 3 years with a $10,000 to $30,000 incentive per year. So if I wanted to build an accessory dwelling unit because my parents or my in-laws wanted to I needed a space for them, no, I would only be able to build it so that I have to rent it to a homeless for 3 years. That would be the only way that maybe restrictions wouldn't be so difficult. The red tape wouldn't be as bad if I let it be for a homeless instead of a family that needs a home because they need care, okay? What would the implications be for these homeowners to deal with some of the issues that the homeless are facing? So the state wants to endorse the homeless problem to people with the heart and the space and the heart. And we can think of all the different kinds of scenarios that might arise from that, from elderly abuse to who knows what. Housing affordability the housing affordability problem stems directly from monetary policies set by the Federal Reserve Bank and over-regulations by our government. It is the invisible hand that artificially manipulates the economy through monetary policies, price fixing, rental caps, subsidies, artificially low interest rates. They set the prices for everything to manipulate the free market economy. So that's all I have for you today. For more information on real estate and the economy, please subscribe to my channel. I also wanted to remind you that whether you are planning on buying or selling a home in Northern California, especially in the San Francisco Bay Area and adjacent areas, the Valley and the Sierra Foothills, I am more than happy to help you. Just feel free to contact me at the link below. And also, I wanted to let you know that our commission is very negotiable. We sell homes for as low as 3%, and we market properties in different areas for more exposure. And also, if you're planning on moving out of state, we can assist you with finding you a realtor anywhere in the United States, or if you're selling a home somewhere outside of California. We're happy to put you in contact with a realtor that will provide a great service. So I thank you, and please hit that subscribe and like button, and I'll see you next time.